Hello, welcome to or back to Making is the Point. My name is Mary. Thanks for coming by. I talk about knitting and spinning and sewing and stitching and all kinds of fiber arts stuff, my other random opinions about life. So thanks for coming on over. I am today, well, first of all, let's address my shorter hair. I know it's having an issue today. I know you're thinking that. The bangs, what's going on? What's going on is I fell asleep with them last night. I was thinking earlier, given the state of the world in 2026, I wonder if more people are deciding to get bangs. That's what you do when your country goes to unnecessary wars. I feel like Trump should just get bangs and quit being. Anyway, so today I'm wearing the Kalle shirt dress. It's a closet core pattern. I love it. This fabric is so nice. It's Japanese Kokka. Naomi Ito, I believe, is the designer. It's so pretty. It's got all these big old flowers all over it. And it's super, super soft fabric. And a really nice pattern. I would totally make this again. It goes to just above the knee, but you can make it as long as you want. I think there's just a shirt and a shirt dress in the pattern. And I believe there's also one that just has like button placket to here, which that would be cute. I think I might do that one next. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. As for FOs, I have 3 of them, and 2 of them I will talk about, and then I will change into the other one because it's worth it. So my first is the Cordelia hat that I was working on last time. This is by Dykhuisen. And this was part of the Kelbourne Woolens year of hats using Germantown DK. And so this was designed with like an art deco based on Chicago architecture, which is pretty cool. We've also talked about how it sort of looks like big beetle situation, which I like. So yeah, it's real cute. I love it. I guess I can put it on because I can't mess up my hair more than it already is. Just living on the edge. Yeah, so it's cute. I just did the shorter ribbing. I was going to do over, but with shorter hair, I feel like that's enough. And then, what was I going to say? Oh, if you do the flip over, you still have enough with one skein. Friends did that way, and there's plenty in a skein. Hold on. Okay. I was also being attacked by this plant. It's chaos over here, people. So my next FO for my next trick, it's the Thea top by Suzanne Muller. And I did this out of Confluence cotton, Farmer's Daughter, so wool cotton blend. And it's sort of a standard tank top. Let's see it close up. It's pretty, right? So it's very cozy. And I do have a few things to say about it. The pattern's great. I modified a few things. I basically simplified it every chance I got. So first one was they say to cast on with a provisional cast on. I can't even find my seam. I didn't do that. So it's a cool idea because then you pick up the stitches and you don't have a seam, but I'm fine with that little seam. Oh my gosh. It's so loud. I might have to stop this. Then there's so much construction in my neighborhood all the time. The thing they love to do around here is knock down a perfectly nice house and build something fresh and new. I have no opinions on the matter, obviously, you can tell. So, and then the other things I did was I did not do a crochet chain reinforcement for the neck. I understand the point. But I didn't really think it was necessary because I looked at ones on Ravelry that didn't do it and I thought they looked fine, and I feel like mine turned out looking fine. The idea is it stabilizes it and doesn't like make it super floppy, but I didn't think they looked bad on Ravelry. And then I omitted a tubular cast off for all the ribbing because I just didn't feel like it. But I really like tubular cast off for sweaters. Usually I do it when they call for it, but for this light cottony yarn, it just didn't seem to be necessary. It looks really nice on like bigger wool sweaters, but I just didn't find it necessary. Um, oh, and then I'll just show, I did this as part of the Farmer's Daughter Sew and Knit Along. The idea is you knit and sew things that form a whole outfit. So I made that, and then I made these chanterelle pants, which are So Liberated is the pattern company, and this is Fabulism fabric. It's like super bright, but I mean, how cute are these? And then the bottom has like a little, let me do it like this, like a placket thing and a very thin binding, which is cute. It comes like right to the ankle. I was thinking about shortening them, but I just did what the pattern called for, and they're so comfortable. Pockets in the back. I highly recommend the pattern. It's very well written, easy to follow. And this is my second pair. I'd make more for sure. So wait, let's just, I mean, guys, how cute is that? Okay, the other FO I'm going to go put on. Okay, I'm back. Look at what I finished. It's my self-drafted Pee-wee's Big Adventure sweater. Again, this was part of, leaves on me, welcome to the jungle. This was part of the Direct Your Own Doodle sweater I took with Allison Dykhuisen and Laura McDougall of the Laura and Allison Party. It was a really fun class where we all made doodle sweaters based on a movie. So I chose Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which is a fantastic film, really holds up. So I used Knitting for Olive Merino in a bunch of colors. And yeah, we've got Pee-wee, the bike, Deep in the Heart of Texas, Large Marge, and the Dino. And yeah, I just decided to do these stripes for the sweater. I mean, for the sleeves, which I like. It pulls the whole thing together. What's to say about this, really? It's a statement piece, to say the least. But I like it. It's Knitting for Olive. It's pretty comfy to wear. I'm about to get controversial, you guys. I see it everywhere. It's the first time I use the merino. I've used heavy merino and I like it. I am not that big into this merino. I don't really know what all the fuss is about. I found it skimpy and splitty and not even splitty. I don't know. I just did not enjoy working with it that much. I thought that stitch definition was meh. Not going to get it again. That's all I have to say about that. But I think what's interesting is that it's so easy to get influenced by stuff. I mean, I get influenced all the time. What's the point of these podcasts if you're not recommending things or Instagram? But every once in a while, it's like a book where I'm like, I'm just not seeing what everyone else is seeing. So it's interesting that way. I tend to like some yarns that other people find too itchy or too rustic, and I think they're really nice and substantial. This felt very weirdly wimpy to me, and I did not enjoy it, which is a bummer because they have so many cool colors. But you know, I used it for this showstopper, and I don't mind wearing it. So that's that. Live and learn, you guys. So yeah, I guess whenever there's a Pee-wee event, I know what I'm going to be wearing. I don't know. If I go to Rhinebeck this year, you can catch me on the hill. I've never been. I don't even know what that means. All right. Thanks to Allison and Laura for inspiring me to make this kook. Okay, now for WIPs, I have a few of them. My first is like a half FO in that it's a sock, and I have one done, and I started the second. I think I'm on the heel portion of it. This is a Shortie sock, Summer Lee, Queen of All Socks, and I used wound up fiber arts fiber that I spun, and this is the color Beautiful Mess. She's a pretty little lady. Shout out to the Handsome Podcast. Anyway, it fits really well, and pretty standard sock pattern. I did the rounded toe decrease. I usually don't do that. I tried that out. I think I like it. It's nothing earth shattering. I don't mind the pointier one. I don't know. But yeah, she fits great. Now for the Lulu Slipover using Kelbourne Woolens, Andorra and Harmony. Andorra is discontinued, but they still make Harmony. Harmony is the mohair. And this is one that I had put away for like a year. I don't know why. I guess I just was sick of back and forth stockinette flat. And then I was like, I really wanted to have the finished product, so I busted it out again. And now I'm a woman on a mission trying to finish this, especially because it's getting hotter and I don't want to be knitting with mohair for really at all, but I'm just going to do it for a little while longer to finish this thing. So it's PetiteKnit Lulu Slipover. The construction is very cool. So you start back here, you do the back flat, and there's increases for quite a while, and then just this short portion of no increases, then ribbing. Then you go back to your top, you pick up and do this shaping for the neckline, and then the rest of it just mirrors the back. You do the increases and down to the ribbing. Then you take the side of this thing and cast on all along the armhole, but it's pretty much the majority of the sweater. So there's just this part where it up through the increases is what I'm trying to say. All along, you pick up, and do ribbing for like 7 rows. It was, in my case, 160 stitches to pick up, rib, tubular bind off. Do that on both sides. And then, let's see, I did the back part. And then the straight part and ribbing, you pick up and do double knit, which, if you haven't done that, it's not that hard. Slightly tedious, but I like it. And I love the finished product of double knitting button band. It's so nice. So you do that on the backs. You just do it flat because this is where your button, there'll be 2 buttons right here. So it's like super open and then little buttons. I think it looks super cute. And then on the front, I will do the same thing, but there'll be buttonholes, 2 buttonholes on the front. And then you go back up to the top and you cast on for a neckline, for the neck. The pattern has a 7-inch ribbed neck that folds over. Many people that I saw in Ravelry have done different things, just a short like crew, double knit, stitched in, whatever. I unfortunately really like the look of the big 7-inch thing, so that's more knitting, but I think it looks really nice with the silhouette of the big collar and then sort of drapey at the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do. And this is really cozy. Even with the mohair, it's soft. I think it won't bother my neck. So yeah, I'm nearing the end. I'm trying to finish this just by the end of the month, just to have it off my needles and be done with mohair for a while. And then once I finish that, I'm going to get back to this little guy that I cast on. It's the Prospect Tee by Tori Yu. I have not made anything by Tori Yu, and I've wanted to because I've heard such great things, and I love this shirt. And friends, and then a lot of stranger friends on the internet have raved about the design, and I think it looks really cute. So I got Sandus Garn Lena in Matcha, which is a color I wanted to get for a while. Puke green is just my love language. And it's going to be so comfy to wear, and it's a nice, like a thicker, so it's a bigger needle. And you know, I was a little bit sick of stockinette and tiny needles, so this is some jazzier stitching, and I like this yarn a lot so far. So that's that. So once I finish the Lulu, I'm going to pick this up and work on it more. And then I think this is my last WIP that I also just cast on when I finished as a treat for finishing that stockinette tank top. This is the Ruffle edit by Youngfolk Knits, Casey Apple, I think is her name. And it's so fun and engaging. I'm just doing this little kerchief size. There's also a shawlette. So the kerchief is smaller and has like longer tails. And then there's like a ruffle along the edge. It's very cute. So it's an easy to memorize pattern. Now I'm just doing this same exact 4-row repeat for like a little while. And then there's the ruffle thing that you end off with. I'm excited to see how that comes together. I don't really understand what's going on with that ruffle. But this is just so cute. And the yarn is yarn that I dyed myself at a Laura Allison retreat, Laura Allison party, one of their retreats a couple years ago. Sarah Hansen is a very talented dyer. They have another retreat this fall. I think there's openings. I recommend. And I think I used Madder, M-A-D-D-E-R, for this. And I think it was sort of like after the dye pot had been used a while, so it was slightly lighter. Pretty sure. But you can see there's like different colors in it. I like it a lot. I can't remember what the actual yarn was, where they got that from. But it's soft, it's nice. I think it's DK. So yeah, using size 7 needles, this thing's great. I feel like I'll crank this out pretty quickly. It's very fun. And then, as I was doing earlier, it makes like a nice little kerchief for your yarn ball. So you get a sense of what it might look like on you once you put it on your yarn ball. Soon, je suis yarn ball. Okay, with that, this is back to FOs, but non-knitting. I just finished a quilt, which I had started a long time ago. I did it because there's a huge empty wall in our bedroom. I was like, I think I should just make a wall hanging quilt for that. And I did. I like cutting a quilt top and sewing a quilt top. Actually, quilting a quilt top is not my favorite thing to do ever. Because it's just like a lot of fighting with the machine. It's like a full body sport. And just one line, it's like, I probably have terrible form, don't know what I'm doing. That doesn't help. But also, it's just kind of hard. So I would only do like a couple lines and then be like, that's enough for today. So it took a long time. But I'll put a picture up in the corner, because I just took one earlier, just when it was done, and you can't really tell. But the quilt is Alderwood Designs Studios. Alderwood. She makes such cool patterns. I love her design sense. They're just very cool. So I always, if I'm ever in the market, I always look at her stuff first. That and Toad and Sew are my favorites. There's a Toad and Sew pattern that I got a smaller wall hanging design to do for our hallway. So yeah, I'm just covering the walls in quilts. So that's fun. And another in non-knitting news, I think it's time to check in on climate change in Chicago, right? With our local Conditions-Satsuma cross stitch. I've been working away on this. I've been trying to keep up-ish. I think I'm like 2 weeks behind, maybe. Boop, boop, boop. So, I'll get it wrong every time with the mirror. January, February, March, April, May through the middle of the month. So you can see things are heating up. The reds and oranges are hotter. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So each day you check the high temp, and there's like a little design that goes along with it. And the end of the year, you just stitch in where you're from or where you were and the year. And that's that. It's kind of cute. Let's see. Okay, please hold. Spinning. My spinning is very focused on spinning my fleece that I got that I've been processing. Her name's Freya. She's from Michigan. She's a Shetland, and she's been so good to me. So all washed, picked most of it, carded most of that, and have been spinning. So I've been sort of breaking that up to not just do all the picking, all the carding, all the spinning, just to keep it jazzy and fresh. So far my plan is to dye it when I have it all done, and then make a lace pullover. So far I have 4.5 skeins, because I started with a smaller skein just to see what I was dealing with. It's all over the place, you guys. 4.5 skeins. I think I need about 4.5 more. Oops. Can you see? Yeah, she looks pretty good, right? Yeah, that's fairly even. Not all of it is that even. I decided to just let go and let God because it's yarn that I'm spinning myself and processing for the first time in my life. So I don't care if it's bumpy and lumpy. And I, from what I've watched and read, I can card it more and get it smoother, but then I'm wasting a ton of yarn because then it's like a fiber, I mean, because then you're just getting rid of all the stuff that's remotely lumpy and stuff. And when I spin it, I sometimes pull out stuff as I go, or I'm just like, it's a lump. Who cares? Also, I don't want to run out after all this. I want to have enough. So I'm just carding it once, you guys. I know that's controversial. I was doing twice, and then I was like, it was having to get rid of too much of it. So I did it once and then spun from one, and I was like, that's fine. So yeah, it's soft. It's kind of the wool I was talking about that I like. It's rustic, but it's not itchy in the least bit. So this is going to make a really nice sweater. I'm excited. And now I'm on this timeline to get it all spun because my friend Kristen's coming to town and we're going to have dye lab. She goes to this place called Quilt Lab. And so we call everything a lab. We're going to have dye lab when she's here and dye this and other stuff. She's got Coach Neil bugs we can make something with. But this, I'm going to do like a yellow. I have a couple different dyes to try. I won't just try it on this. So yeah, I'm hoping to have this all spun so we can dye it all. And then I can get to, want to have it done by like July, beginning of July, dyed and ready to start knitting. Can't remember the word because Laura Allison Party's having a Along with the Lakes pullover, and I'm excited to work on that. I've wanted to make that for a while. So this is cool. I won't be sad when I'm done spinning all this white yarn because I have other fun fibers that I want to work on, but Freya needs me and I can't let her down now. So, let's see. Watching, reading, all the things. What was I thinking about? Oh, podcasts, knitting podcasts. What is the one that I found? Hold on, let me look it up so I don't screw up their name. Okay, podcasts that YouTube just served up to me and I liked. Two women yelling about knitting. They are two women who are very cool. They don't even yell. They barely raise their voices. But they talk about different topics in the knitting world and stuff like that. And I feel like we're somewhat of the same generation. I'm probably older, but the references are similar. And yeah, they just are cool. I like them. And so I watched a couple episodes, and one that I watched was about like knitting and mental health, which is the topic that's very fascinating to me. And I worked in a mental health organization for a long time, and other, we've all got our problems. So I thought it was interesting. And then there was some comments, conversation, and I was thinking about it a lot. So there was discussion on the benefits. Obviously, we talk about those a lot, and in terms of like mental health and, doing something that's not on your phone and something that gives you confidence and skill and community and all the things. But then there's, it might become like somewhat of an addiction where you're like super into it and you're like ignoring other people or things in your life or other things like that. And I saw some comment from someone that was like, is this a millennial thing? Like, why are we always worrying about things? Can't we just have a hobby? And I think some people didn't like the wording or the tone. I was like, I had a little bit of the same thought where I'm like, I liked the conversation. I think it makes sense to have it. But at the same time, I'm like, so what if sometimes we do it too much? Like, oh my God, it could be meth and it's not. So it made me think of like tracking. I've fallen down that rabbit hole in terms of like health or exercise and like my watch and doing stuff. And then I realized, what the fuck am I tracking this for? I don't want to know the stats. I just want to go outside and run because it's a nice spring day. Like it's it's hard for me to like find the balance of that stuff sometimes. And I'm like, I don't want to track everything. You know what? I don't want to track every goddamn book I read. I just want to read books. And I'm trying to get into Storygraph because Goodreads pissed me off. But I just want to know what my friends and my family are reading and then talk about it and then have connections and enjoy zoning out on my back porch reading a book. I don't care what percent of the book I'm done with. Like, because sometimes I do, and then that becomes kooky. And like, all this to say, so much tracking, so much analysis. And I honestly, I don't think it's for the person that commented. My thought is it's not so much a generational thing, it's just maybe more of an online thing. I don't know, or it's just trendy to analyze the motherfuck out of everything. I'm becoming my parents. I know that like there's value in analyzing stuff, but sometimes I see the point where it's like, oh my god, do I have to like dissect what's negative about my fucking knitting hobby? And in defense of these women, I don't think that's what they were getting at. It's an interesting topic, but I can see that. So anyway, their podcast is great. The Grocery Girls, they're super popular. You know, everyone has, most people in the knitting community has watched them. I just gotta say that Jody makes me laugh so hard. Tracy is a delightful person. They're both delightful. Jody's delivery absolutely slays me. Half the time she doesn't mean it. Like Tracy's last one I watched, Tracy's like, I am never gonna stop knitting socks. Jody so seriously. Don't even ask me to. It just kills me. The time she drives far to get to wherever they film, and she forgot to put her tooth in, slayed me. She didn't bother her at all. So anyway, I've been enjoying those too. I got to them like years and years late, so there's plenty of back catalog for me to watch. Just dropped my phone. So anyway, I found another guy this morning. I don't know. There's a lot out there, you guys. Watching. I've been rewatching, thanks to my friend Laura, because she was talking about it. Girls. That show is very funny. I kind of forgot how funny it was because I've been like meh on Lena Dunham over the years, and I'm like, wait a minute. Let me give this woman credit where it's due. She is so talented. The writing is great. Her acting is awesome. I think it's so interesting that she recently said how she wrote Adam Driver's character to be an annoying asshole, and then people really liked him, and she was like, oh boy. Watching it back, he is such a piece of shit. He's good at it. He's a great actor. The character is so well written because there's like, I could see being early 20s and getting attached to that guy. He's just kind and just interesting enough, and they have like stuff in common where they laugh a lot. I could see being like, oh, I will, pull him out of this crazy shell, or just feeling drawn to him. But at the same time, all your friends are like, what in the fuck? So it's made me laugh out loud a lot. She's very funny. And then I've been rewatching, just when I'm like spinning or it's in the background, the OC. That show totally holds up. Another funny Adam Brody is super funny in that show, like legitimately. And then I was listening to Rachel Bilson. She has some podcast about the OC. I listened to a little bit of it. So anyway, that's a good one. I've been sort of watching Better Call Saul. I've never watched it. I'm trying to get into it. I like it, but it's just like a lot to catch up on. So every once in a while I'll watch an episode. Noah Kahn documentary. I love that thing. I'm like the last person in the world to catch up on Noah Kahn. I like his music in like a Bon Iver sad boy way. It's not like my go-to, but I think his songwriting is really great. I've been listening to his new album, The Great Divide, and it's great songwriting. But he's a very interesting, delightful person, and I thought that documentary was really well done. I really thought it was interesting to hear a man talk about having body dysmorphia. I mean, it's very unfortunate what he's struggled through, but I think it's interesting how he said he was reluctant to talk about it because he didn't know his place in the conversation, which I think is thoughtful. But I thought it was really interesting, and it's probably very helpful for people. So yeah, and just his fame was so fast and adjusting to that, and what he's done for mental health is really cool. Um, yeah, and I'm a big Bernie Sanders fan, so just like seeing that whole thing with Bernie Sanders is very cool. Um, Vermont, maple syrup, and some awesome people. Um, let's see. Should I marry a murderer? Should I have found a different title for my documentary? So, without spoiling anything, that title, she never debated whether she should marry a murderer. Okay? You know that from the beginning. Um, what else? I've been watching a lot of comedy clips because I like the comedy. Um, what's that guy's name? Caleb Heron. Chris Fleming on Caleb Heron's podcast. I watched that on YouTube, and then it fell down a rabbit hole of Caleb Heron's podcast. But Chris Fleming is so flipping funny in just a weird ass way. I love them. And then Stuart Lee, I fell down a rabbit hole with Stuart Lee because Maria Bamford said he's one of her favorite comedians. And I love Maria Bamford. Okay, books. The Names I finished by Florence Knapp. What's to say about this? I enjoyed it and then was getting more and more sort of the more I thought about it, which sometimes happens with books and movies for me. I think my biggest gripe is that some of it felt like the characters were underwritten or underdeveloped, and there was a little bit of like, is it trauma porn? You know from the very beginning that one character is abusive asshole. So this character, I just felt like we get it. We get it. Some of the scenes felt sort of trite in a very hard to read way. Like, oh, you thought I was too uncreative to understand what an abusive man would do. So you're going to tell us he did this. Okay. And maybe some people are like, no, that was my experience and I want it written like that. But oh boy. I mean, I worked at a women's shelter for abused women, and I worked with abusive men in a different social work job. Heard a lot, saw a lot. It was intense. So the exact scenes, like I know I have talked to people that has happened to. The way it was written felt so underwritten to, I don't know, it felt hard to read. And just sort of out of nowhere. I don't know. So trigger warning on that. If that sort of stuff is not your vibe, there's some doozies. Other than that, I thought it was a cool construction. The title and premise, it's not exactly what's happening, but I mean, that could just be marketing. It's interesting. I needed to know what happened. So I read the whole thing. Now I'm reading Broken Country, and I got sucked in right away, and I really liked it. And now the main character is really annoying the crap out of me, which that's never a good sign. I fear she's about to make a lot of dumb decisions, and I'm not going to be happy about it. And not like, oh, characters can't make dumb decisions. Like, would this person really do that? You know, in a writing kind of way. So I don't know. We'll see. And then I have Heart the Lover out of the library, so I'm going to start that when I finish Broken Country. Those are my books. Oh, Real Housewives of Rhode Island. I forgot to catch up on that. I am going back and forth between Kelsey and Rosie. I thought I was Team Rosie, but I can't when people can't take an obvious joke. You can think it's not funny, but don't act like you don't think it's a joke. Kelsey was clearly joking. You might not think her jokes are funny, and that's fine. But no, she was serious. No, she wasn't. Stop. And I'm really into Alicia getting sassy with Liz because I was a Liz fan, but I've had enough of her being like, "You weren't homeless. You weren't." I know she said homeless, but she was kicked. I get the theme, but the woman is trying to share her personal life with you. Let it go, Liz. But you have to remember when you're watching Liz that she's probably baked out of her mind. So there's that. And sometimes you forget because she's pretty cool and together. But I'm like, Alicia, Joellen, your girl is in another dimension. So anyway, looking forward to catching up with those ladies as they continue to just crumble before our eyes. Okay. I think that might be it. I have a ton of sewing I plan to do. I cut out a bunch of patterns. My sewing hack is to sew patterns I already have cut out. So I'm just cutting the fabric because a very kind, generous, lovely friend of mine gave me a bunch of fabric recently, and I want to just use that so it doesn't sit in a drawer and be forgotten. So I cut out a bunch of patterns right away. And so I'm going to be working on those and all my little knits and everything else. So yeah, I'm excited that it's nicer out and more summery. But that means usually means more sewing, less knitting in my world. So that's that. Thanks a lot for coming over. Feel free to subscribe so, all these important updates can just take the world and the internet by storm. Like, subscribe, comment. Tell me your blah, blah, blah. Don't you love when people on podcasts and stuff, they ask you some fucking inane question clearly just to get a conversation going? I love strawberry Waterloo. What's your favorite Waterloo? Put it in the comments. And it's like, nobody gives a fuck. But speaking of Waterloo, there's not one goddamn time I picked one of these up and didn't think, Waterloo! The ABBA song. So, let's get that in your head. Have a great day. Love you. Bye.